The day it all started was surprisingly ordinary. My 2016 Chevy Malibu had been making this high-pitched squeal every time I turned the steering wheel, and it had finally gotten bad enough that I couldn't ignore it. I dropped it off at a local shop called Wayne's Auto, just a 10-minute walk from our house. My wife, Ellie, had actually recommended it. Said she'd heard good things from a coworker. I remember the morning vividly. Ellie handed me my travel mug of coffee, kissed me on the cheek like she always did, and said, "Be nice to Wayne. He's got golden hands." I didn't think anything of it. I chuckled and told her I'd be back in a bit. Wayne was tall, lean, and wore a grease-stained uniform like it was a designer suit. He looked like someone who probably used to ride motorcycles for fun but now settled for fixing them. He shook my hand firmly and told me he'd call when he had a diagnosis. That was it. That's all it was supposed to be. Except, it wasn't. The first time I got suspicious was about a week after that initial drop-off. Ellie had started doing something different with her hair, more volume, loose curls instead of her usual tight bun. She'd also bought this new cherry red blouse that showed just a touch more skin than she normally would for her office job. "Got a work event?" I asked casually as she walked past me one Thursday morning, smelling faintly of a perfume I couldn't quite place. "Nope, just felt like dressing up today," she said, not even glancing in my direction. The second time I dropped off the car, it was for a follow-up repair. Wayne said he needed to replace the power steering pump. Ellie insisted on picking up the car herself that afternoon, said she had an early day at work and could swing by. Again, I didn't think twice. Why would I? Then came the third time. The Malibu started pulling slightly to the right. I told Ellie I'd take it back in, but she jumped at the chance. "I'll go, I'm off Friday anyway," she said quickly. Almost too quickly. That's when something started to gnaw at me. I had always trusted her, never once doubted anything she said, but her eyes didn't meet mine when she offered. She looked down and twisted the sleeve of her hoodie like a nervous tick. That night, she got home 2 hours later than I expected. Said Wayne had been slammed and they ended up talking shop while she waited. She knew I didn't know much about cars, so I nodded and let it go. But something still felt off. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked her location history on Google. It showed she'd spent nearly 4 hours at Wayne's Auto. The next day, I pretended to forget my phone in the car so I could call her from the office phone and hear the background noise. When she picked up, it was dead silent. No street sounds. No other customers. Just her voice and then a low chuckle in the background that wasn't hers. "Gotta go," she said abruptly, and the line went dead. I didn't confront her. Not then. I needed more than a gut feeling. I needed certainty. So I drove past Wayne's Auto the next day during my lunch break. Parked across the street, low in my seat like some amateur detective. After an hour of nothing, I was just about to give up when I saw her. Ellie walked out the back door of the garage, not the front where the customer entrance was, and she wasn't alone. Wayne followed a step behind, wiping his hands on a rag. She laughed at something he said, then stopped and turned. He leaned in, and they kissed. Not a peck. Not a friendly hug. It was a kiss with history. A kiss with rhythm. I didn't even realize I was gripping the steering wheel so hard until I heard it creak beneath my fingers. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, numb, trying to understand when my marriage became this lie. The worst part? I had to go home that evening and pretend I didn't know. Pretend that the woman making spaghetti in my kitchen hadn't just given herself to another man in the shadows of a garage where I was supposed to get my oil changed. And so I waited. Waited for the right moment. Waited to see if she'd tell me. She didn't. But I would. Soon. I didn't sleep much that night. I laid next to Ellie, staring at the ceiling, listening to the gentle rhythm of her breathing. Every so often, she would stir and reach out for me in her sleep, her hand resting briefly on my chest. A gesture that used to make me feel safe now felt like a ghost of something I couldn't get back. The next morning, I told her I'd be working late. I wasn't. I needed time to think. Time to plan. I took a long drive, no destination, just winding roads and the sound of the tires on the asphalt to keep me company. When I finally turned back toward town, I wasn't ready to confront her, not yet. But I needed to do something. I went back to Wayne's auto. He was outside, leaning against a Mustang with a cigarette in his mouth and that same smug look that made my stomach churn. I parked, got out, and walked up to him. "Hey," I said calmly. He blinked. "Hey, man. You hear about the Malibu?" "No," I said, my voice steady. "I'm here about my wife." For a split second, he looked confused. Then it clicked. His face didn't show guilt. It didn't even flinch. Just a lazy, disinterested shrug. "Look, I don't want any trouble." "I'm not here to cause trouble," I said. "I just want to hear it from you." Wayne sighed and stubbed out his cigarette on the ground. "It started a couple of months ago. She came in to pick up your car. We talked. One thing led to another. That's all it is. Talking. Laughing. She said she was lonely. That you were always working." "Is that what she told you?" I asked, heat creeping into my chest. "Yeah. And honestly, man, I didn't think she'd stay. Women like her never stay." I didn't hit him. I wanted to. But I didn't. Instead, I turned and walked away. Because I wasn't going to waste another ounce of pain on someone who treated my life like a pit stop. That night, I made Ellie her favorite dinner, chicken piccata with angel hair pasta. I lit candles. Poured wine. She smiled when she walked in. "What's the occasion?" "You," I said. "You deserve something nice." She didn't suspect a thing. Over dinner, she laughed. She complimented the wine. Told me about her day. Then, halfway through her second glass, I slid the envelope across the table. Inside were photos. Her and Wayne. That kiss behind the garage. Time stamped. Dated. She froze. "What's this?" "You tell me," I said. Her face drained of color. I can explain." "I bet you can," I said, pushing back from the table. "But I'm not interested in the explanation anymore. I gave you 1,000 chances to be honest." Tears welled up instantly. "It didn't mean anything, it was just. You let someone else into our marriage. Into the space we built. You didn't just cheat on me, Ellie. You replaced me while I was still trying to be everything for you." She sobbed, covering her face. "Please, I don't want to lose you." I stood, picked up my keys. "I already lost you. The day you chose him." "I'll end it," she cried. "I'll go to counseling, I'll do anything." I shook my head. "The engine might still run, Ellie, but the damage has already been done." I stayed at a friend's place that night. I filed for divorce 2 days later. The house? It was never about the house. The memories inside it felt like ghosts, haunting every room. It's been 4 months since then. I still drive the Malibu. Fixed the steering myself this time. I've learned a lot about what betrayal feels like. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it smiles at you across the dinner table. But I also learned I can survive it. That there's life after lies. And every now and then, when I take a corner too sharply and feel the wheels grip the road with that satisfying growl, I'm reminded that some things, at least, are still under my control.